It's going to run twice, I guess. Wow, we got through it twice, but there was our intro twice. Fight Show episode 17, presented by Pull No Punches Apparel, 717 Surplus, and as always, our friends over at CannaDips with the Go Fuel this week, Mocha. It's got I had it in the top of my head, 150 milligrams of CBG, 375 milligrams of caffeine. Check them out, CannaDips.com. With the code FightShow for 20% off your order. I'll leave that up at the bottom for anybody coming in. What's up, Bob? Episode 17, live on the interwebs.
Nothing. Just a quick question off Canner. How are you liking those CannaDips, man? I'm thinking about putting an order in. I probably should.
Like I said, I've been using them for like 10 years. I know when I quit smoking, they
what flavors
they help with the cravings, huh?
What flavors?
They got the Cali. They got the Cali roll, which gives you all 5 rolls. I'm not a huge wintergreen fan, so I try and stay away from it. But they got like wintergreen. Tangy citrus is really good. But other than that, CannaDips.com down at the bottom there, guys. Fight Show, code FightShow, 20% off. And shout out to Pull No Punches Apparel. Go hit them up, PullNoPunchesApparel.com. So as I stated, bud, episode 17, what's up? Pat the Brick Brady, we're waiting on him. He's busy. He's got a business.
I know what it is. He's scared of the Mannheim Strangler. He doesn't want to come face to face.
We put that out last week. I mean, that might be a coincidence how we put that out last week. No, I wouldn't think that's the case. I wouldn't think that's the case at all. But in the meantime,
definitely maybe.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for the Brick to do what the Brick's got to do, run his business or train or be a dad or a husband, guy's he's all over the place. How was your week? How was your week?
It was good. We had some highs and lows in the football betting. Shout out Michigan Wolverines for helping pull me out of the red. But we're back to the good now. So national title decided.
Pat says he's on his way.
Appreciate his time.
So yeah, anytime, man. He's got to mentally prepare. I think he's got to mentally prepare himself to be face to face with that asshole that took a point from him that one time. That's what it is.
Definitely true. No, I'm glad UFC mixed martial arts feels like it's back this week. Happy about that. I didn't realize how much of a junkie I was until you have to go 2 weeks without it, you know?
Day 11, no UFC. I did just see earlier today, Cody Garbrandt, literally probably like 2 hours ago, they dropped Cody Garbrandt, Davison Figueiredo. And I always say his name like Harley Davidson, Davison Figueiredo.
It's a good fight.
Yeah, for sure. I think Cody needs it on the way back.
Makes sense for both. We were talking a little bit off air. Cody needs this one a little bit more than Davidson does, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a crossroads into whatever path either one of them are on at this point because everybody had Cody counted out. You know, MMA fan base is fickle.
He was on the way out. Whoever he fought two fights ago, had he not won that fight, he would have been cut. So, I mean, he played it safe. He won that one, and then he knocked out Brian Kelleher at the last event. And I'll tell you what, you know, not for nothing, you know, obviously we saw Davison Figueiredo fight Brandon Moreno 4 times in a row, that'll never be seen again. Then Davison Figueiredo wrestled Rob Font to a decision win at the weight class up. I don't think Davison has fought a guy who punches like Cody in a little bit. You know, Brandon Moreno
definitely powerhouse. Last time was a test to his grappling. This time is definitely going to be a test to his
I'll tell you what,
his striking in the striking department for sure. Real quick, something else that popped up this week. I'm going to put this up here just because we like to promote all kinds of good shit. If you were in the Reisterstown, Maryland, aka Baltimore, Owings Mills area, February 17th, there's been the last couple of weeks, John Rollo's name's just been popping up in multiple conversations here, but Ground Control is his school. If you don't know who John Rollo is, just go give give him a Google there real quick. Guys got more MMA industry knowledge in his right hand than most of us have in our whole bodies. But John Rollo's Ground Control MMA seminar with Stipe, all the info is down there at the bottom. Anybody can shoot me a message, hit me up. I'll probably post it to my story or something like that. But yeah, shout out to John Rollo and Ground Control. So that is going on in the Baltimore, Maryland.
No kidding. There's a ground control in Reisterstown, Maryland. It's a little known fact that that is the birthplace of one Mannheim Strangler, Reisterstown, Maryland. That's where I was born.
Really?
You don't hear that name tossed around that often. You know what I mean?
Well, that explains a lot, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So that popped up this week. I know. I'm just trying to look around. We got a couple other things. Pat, if you're tuning in for Pat Brady, clearly neither one of us, neither this Stone Cold motherfucker or my Bryce Mitchell looking ass, are Pat Brady. However, Pat is on his way. He just shot us a comment here. We promise we're not lying. We're not clout chasing. There he is. But no, the brick is on his way. Let me do some stuff here. Speaking of, while we got a couple people in, there was, so we don't waste any of Pat's time, there was an incident we spoke of the other week on the show. I say an incident, but back in December, the last UFC show, speaking of the last time we watched UFC, as you know, or people that have watched know, we got invited by Ryan out to 247. You, however, were busy, had to go to the casino, predisposed, family plans, fully understand, not giving you shit.
As long as you throw
Pat's in, so we'll bring Pat. Real quick, we'll circle back to this because we don't want to leave this guy sitting out here in the green room for too long. This guy's 5-1 for anybody that doesn't know who he is, and if you don't know who Pat Brady is, I suggest you go look him up. 5-1. He's a Jersey guy, but we'll claim him with our PA East Coast guys. He hasn't been here for a long time, but he sure as fuck's been here for a good time. He's been a pro since 2021. He's already an Art of War Hall of Famer, which is a promotion here in PA. Sorry. Last fought in June in the PFL. Pat the Brick Brady.
Gentlemen.
I thought that was Dave Bautista for a second. In the shadow. He came out of the shadows a little bit.
I had a beard. I had to clean her up a little bit. What's going on, boys? Mr. Bookwalter, how are you?
How you doing? I was thinking maybe you were scared of me and were thinking of backing out of a sparring agreement, and that's why you weren't showing up.
I told him you were still mad about that point.
I've never been scared of anyone in my life.
I
told him you were still pissed off.
I
told him you were still pissed off about that point he took. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, you want to fill everybody in on the history on that? So
yeah,
for people that don't know,
this is what happened. I fought Ian Austin as an amateur, and at the time, Ian and I were probably the two biggest prospects in the area, not just for the heavyweight division, but in general. And we had both fought for Art of War previously, and it's funny too because nobody would fight either one of us. So I actually told Mike to make the fight, and we fought each other to a draw because of Mr. Bookwalter. Cost me a win.
I did, dude. It was here's the backstory of it. All right. Pat and Ian, that was, by the way, that was the best amateur fight that I've ever officiated. I mean, this is two heavyweights.
Hold on a bit now. Pause on that, because did you do your homework last week? You're at what, 2,000 to 3,000 fights?
Yeah, 1,500, 2,000, somewhere in there.
So that's got to be some type of a Bills award. That was, you said the best, and I quote, the best.
That's the most memorable one. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was at the bit I was waiting for one huge punch to land from either one, and I was ready to be there when whatever guy fell face flat. And these two guys. And
neither one of us did, and there was a lot of big punches thrown and landed.
It's on YouTube if anybody wants to look it up, because I rewatched it. These two guys sat there and swung at each other and clocked each other for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so
we
much
beat on
so.
each other pretty good.
Pat Brady's mouthpiece came out one time. All right, no big deal. Put it back in. Yeah. And then I think the second time, I don't think he was even, you know what I mean when I say wearing it on the edge of his mouth? He wasn't he didn't have it popped out. I just think Ian hit him with such a good shot.
Yeah.
And the mouthpiece went flying again. And if I don't remember, That was only the second time. I still wasn't getting involved with this fight. I
Uh,
think it. I think it came out a third time. Am I
the,
correct?
the third time you took a point on the third time, and look, but
Okay.
just full disclosure, it was totally my fault. So I didn't even have like a professionally molded mouthpiece. Like it wasn't even like it was like a bought at Modell Sporting Goods or something. Like it wasn't like a good mouthpiece, and I just didn't know any better. You know what I mean? It
Well,
wasn't.
I will tell you. I remember this. The time it did fly out, and I loved the fight. They both hit each other. This wasn't a one sided beatdown. Okay.
Hmm.
When Ian hit him, it definitely the mouthpiece flew. It rocked Pat a little bit. I had to stop the fight and take away Ian's chance. To be, who knows, on a different day, Ian could have sworn Pat and it would have been different. But I mean, he hit him good. And the mouthpiece came out, and I'm like, please don't spit this thing out again, man. It has to stay in.
Yeah.
I can't stop the fight during a critical, but I have to stop the fight. It's part of one of the things that sucks about being a ref. And the third time it came out, and you got to remember, we're under the gun for everything, and the commission wants this, and the corners want
Yeah.
that. And it's like, and I had to, because it was such a critical point. It wasn't like it was a critical point in the fight. Pat wasn't just spitting his fucking mouthpiece out. He was
No.
getting hit, and he was hitting Ian back. And so
Yeah.
I had to take a point, and unfortunately, that sucks. I never like doing
Now
that
listen,
shit.
it's all good. And look, it made me a better fighter, man. Like, because Ian and I, we both made each other better fighters after that
Nice.
night.
Thank you.
And it wasn't anybody's fault. And I don't hold that against Bill by any stretch of the means. Like, it was totally my fault. And it's my responsibility to keep the mouthpiece in my mouth, whether I'm getting punched in the face or not. So, um, it's all good, man. I mean, look, it was a learning experience after that. I definitely addressed the
Thank you.
mouthpiece, and I went out and got it professionally molded.
Very
And
nice.
yeah, it was a good night.
I'm very glad I didn't cost you any money. It's just an amateur
Nah,
fight. No,
nah, we didn't make any money as amateurs anyway. We sold tickets, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, we weren't getting paid. So it's all good, brother. It's all good.
Well, it seems to have paid off for you, man. You're heading,
Yeah,
you're in a major. You're one of the best fighters in the world at heavyweight. You are.
yeah,
If you're in the PFL, if you're in UFC or Bellator as a heavyweight, you're one of the best fighters in the world. You're definitely top
yeah. I
100.
still think I'm one of the best. Like listen, I don't hold that fight against Jordan Heiderman against me by any stretch of the means. Like, I was winning that fight. That dude fucking stinks. And I was beating him up, and, like, I don't even think he landed a punch. I really don't. I've watched the fight, obviously, a dozen times. And even after I got injured, I hurt my knee, and I kept fighting. Like, I was still making him miss with head movement. Like, and I couldn't really do anything off of my knee. Um, and when he threw that kick, like it hit the opposite leg that was injured. And, the announcers had tried to make it like he had battered my leg with the kick. But the kick wasn't what hurt me. We both kicked and our knees collided and my knee hyperextended and it was just an awkward. It wasn't like he did anything with any
Mhm.
type of like force that took me out. It was just a fluke thing that it couldn't have been prevented. Like, I beat that guy 99 out of 100 times, and this was just that one time, man. Like, the only way I lose that fight is if I off of a fluke injury, and that's what happened. So I still think I'm one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world. I still think there's a lot of guys on the PFL roster, on the Bellator roster, on the UFC roster. There's a lot of guys that I beat. I mean, for one across the
Ooh. Hey, Bob, you're hitting a bad
thing that these
spot.
guys are doing that I'm not capable of doing. So, yeah, my story's not over for not by any stretch of the means.
No,
Oh,
I
we
can
hope
think of
not.
a couple UFC heavyweights off the top of my head that I'm pretty sure that you would beat.
I
I can
not
think of
just
at
beat.
least.
I would trash them. I would trash them. The heavyweight division is so unathletic. These guys are like, some of them are like fat slobs, and like they just like they don't take. You could tell like these guys don't take care of themselves, and I'm like, there's no way they outwork me. It's just not possible.
Well,
Like
I'll tell
you
you what.
can't
There's
look like that and outwork me. It just isn't possible.
for those that don't know, Pat is like a bodybuilder in the off season. He's a big motherfucking dude, man, and he gets in shape for his fights. He's a big guy. He's like, what do you weigh in? 255, 260?
Right now I'm 265.
Yeah, Pat's a big motherfucking dude, man. And he
Yeah,
hits
and
hard as
like
shit.
that's what like I like when I get in the cage, I'm probably 250, 255.
Yeah, but you're
I
athletic,
came in
man.
the
You
lightest I
are
came
athletic.
in. I think the lightest I came in, I think it was like 42. But like, I like to consider myself an athletic 250, and these guys aren't. These guys aren't doing what I do. They're just not. So
Here,
um,
here.
I'm
I'll
confident
call.
when I get in there.
Just to make it fun, I'll call names out. Pat Brady, I think you beat Parker Porter in the UFC.
Yeah, I think he's out of the UFC, but yes, I beat him for sure.
Okay, I think you. What's the other guy? The big tall guy, Jared
Vandera.
I think you beat
He's
Jared
out, but I
Vandera.
beat him too. He's out,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
beat him too.
yeah. I think I think I could name a couple guys. You are
Go down
definitely
the
one of the
list.
best
There's
fighters.
guys in the top 15 that I can beat.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm right now.
Let's look
looking,
at the top 15. Let's look at the top 15.
We're
Who do we got?
gonna pull it up here in a second. I'm not quite Jamie from Joe Rogan, but I'm getting there. Give me a minute.
Hey, Pat Brady went to the top 15 fight in UFC at UFC 300. Man, let's go.
Yo,
Or in
they
Jersey.
just signed a 4-0 guy. A 4-0 wrestler. 4-0 kickboxer.
I know who you're talking about.
And he fights on the Atlantic City card, I think.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
No, he's fighting in 299. He's fighting on 299.
Okay. Well, Pat, while Garrett's looking this up, what's next for you, man? What's your next one?
I'm an idiot.
So there is something in the works. Okay. I'm pretty sure my contract with the PFL is up as of January 3rd.
Well, don't mention anything that's going to mess you up.
No. And that's why I have to be careful how I articulate this. Let's just say there is something that is on the table, and there are no gloves involved.
Woo! I like that, man. No, I like that, man.
Yeah. And it's on the table.
Is it something that you and I have bantered over on Facebook before, based on something I've posted?
The initials are B. The second initial I won't say. The third initial is S.
It might be relatively. It's like a fast food restaurant, like Wendy's.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but
sponsored by Wendy's. Oh, there he is. I got the top 15 right here.
Okay.
And I'm looking at 1, 2. I mean, we're going down into single digits here, and I'm looking at some people that I feel like I want to see Pat Brady face. But again,
dude, I feel like we're like breaking news here. I want to ask him all about it, and I can't. I'm not going to put Pat in that position, but man, if it's what I'm thinking, man, I would love to see that, man.
If it's what is there a possibility that you may not have to travel far for accommodations to this said event? The possibility of said event. Oh, and of course I asked that question and his sound cuts out. Can't hear you. Gotta love the internet.
Thank God you're the brains of the operation, man.
Well, it would happen. We get Pat Brady on here. Just there we go. Hey Pat, come back in.
He'll dip back in.
Yeah, he'll pull a bit. You know what? That's not even a Bill Bookwalter anymore. You've been actually popping in and coming in first time on the dot. No more fuckery with the microphone.
Yeah, no, it's worked. I'll tell you what, man. If I were in charge of technology, the show, the second he went mute, I'd have been like, "And we'll see you next week." You're the brains of the technology of all this. I don't understand how any of this stuff works.
Here we go. We got a brick back.
We back in.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're in. We're in. Yeah,
Okay.
if you lose sound or something like that, bud, just pop back out, click that link, come
Yeah, I
right
just
back in.
jumped out and jumped back in. So
Yeah.
the initials or the president's name sound
We got.
rhymes
Hey,
with.
we figured we got where you're at. I don't want you to give too much. The accommodations, though, the travel,
Yeah.
your travel
The
time would
travel.
not be very
So
far.
if I did sign a deal, it would have been a 2-fight deal. First of which being out west, second of which possibly being in Philadelphia.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
We've
Very
been
nice.
muttering about this for weeks.
Yeah.
We actually just
Very
talked to
nice,
Mike
man.
Attero. We were talking to Mike Attero about this last week on the show. So
Yeah.
Dude,
So
dude, check the smile on my face, man. I think you
yeah.
would do
Let's
great.
see
I think
that
you would
list.
do
Let's see
great at
that list. Let's talk about who I can beat up.
yeah,
that.
let's go. Let's go talk about who the bricks
Let's talk
breaking.
some shit. Let's talk
Can
some
we?
All
shit.
right.
I can probably hold on a minute. Give me a minute, guys. We'll try and
Yeah, zoom me in,
make a
zoom
little.
me in.
There
I
you
will
go.
tell you this to anybody tuning in right now: when you deal with Pat Brady, you don't really get a boring fight. The guy has one
No.
gear; it's forward, and he throws.
All right, Mark Delima, I beat.
Yes, I agree with that. I
Romanov, I just watched him grapple good. So Romanov is so hit or miss, dude. Sometimes he's not in shape, sometimes he's in shape. But Romanov, I can beat, right? Because he gasses out. Where'd my list go? You guys still there?
yeah, no.
Yeah, we're still here.
I'll
All right,
tell
so
you what.
Romanov, I can beat. Derek Lewis is a tough fight for anybody.
He's actually taking his cardio a little more seriously now.
Yeah,
Ooh, we're losing him again.
right? Like he doesn't do anything. Am I still there?
Yeah, no, you heard
No.
that.
No, we lost him.
Oh.
I think.
Hey,
He keeps
I'll
popping
tell
back
you
in
what.
and out.
Not for nothing. Now these are the top heavyweight fighters in the world. Okay,
Yeah.
Marcin Tybura. Okay, I've refereed him before. I refereed him against Sergey Spivak back at UFC Norfolk. Okay, Pat would be a very tough matchup for Marcin Tybura. That's crazy to say. I think Pat could. I'm not saying who would win or who wouldn't. You know, I know Pat's our guest tonight and stuff like that, but I'll always be fair and objective. Tybura doesn't have outstanding wrestling. He doesn't have outstanding power at all for a heavyweight. He's good with
No.
some positional grappling. I think he'd have a tough time with Pat. Pat would be the underdog, you know, but Pat would be a live dog in that fight, you know.
I think somebody. Here we go. We got Pat back. I think somebody like Tybura, Tai Tuivasa, Spivak. I think
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't and this is not taking anything away from Pat, but that division's not as deep, near as deep as the other divisions. But we're not. Pat's
It's
not in
not.
any other division. We're talking about
100%.
heavyweight.
Yeah.
So
No, I was just while you were gone, Pat. I was just discussing, and I said, "Man, this is." I always shoot the truth. I tell it how I remember it, how I see it. Marcin Tybura would have a tough time with you.
I know.
He doesn't do anything
He
exceptionally
doesn't
well.
do anything special. He doesn't.
No,
Nothing he does is like really special. Noah
no.
Tybura is hard to get out of there, right? Like that's what he does
He's
well.
tough. Yeah, he's tough.
He's tough to get out of there. And but with me, like I can get him out of there. There's nothing that I can hit him with some hits, with some shots that'll fucking put him out. You know what I mean? So
You hit way harder than
my
Marcin
power
Tybura.
can certainly put it on Tybura. Spivak. Now I've crossed paths a bunch of times with Spivak out at PFL. He was cornering. I forget what her name was. Spivak's tough, man. Spivak's tough. I think he would give me a hard time. Um, he's good. Spivak's tough, but like, that division. It's like right now. I don't know, man. It's a shame what's going on with that top with Jones and Aspinall and Stipe. Like that whole fucking situation is a mess, and it sucks because you know John Jones and Stipe Miocic deserve the respect that they get from the UFC, and that they're in like they're being given the grace of Dana White that most people wouldn't get, right?
Mm-hmm.
By being allowed to, like John Jones isn't vacating the title. He's not being asked to vacate the title. and Stipe is waiting for John Jones, and they're not holding the gun to Stipe's head saying you got to fight Tom Aspinall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of just like, okay, we'll wait for you two to fight. And I don't know that that is really something that a lot of guys would get from the UFC, like that kind of
Well, I'll tell
grace
you what,
period.
just because we like talking heavyweight UFC and heavyweight mixed martial arts and all that shit, um, Aspinall is the first one in a long time that I've actually thought could beat John Jones. You know, I'm not saying he would.
Aspinall, listen,
He's very
Aspinall's
good.
the real deal.
Yeah,
Aspinall's the
he
real
looks it.
deal, brother.
No,
He's the
he looks
fucking
it.
real deal. He hit
And
that fucking Russian, and I think he came off the bench too. I think Aspinall came off the fucking couch, man. I'm sure he's in the gym all the time, but like he wasn't like it wasn't a
yeah,
full camp. And he
he
came off the couch and he hit that fucking Russian with a 1-2. That was like, wow.
I'm telling you, I agree with you on the whole. You know, obviously Jones and Stipe deserve respect, but Tom's not wrong. Like he's being withheld a title shot,
Well,
and I think
here's the
he's
thing. Tom is a little wrong. And
all right.
it comes in the sense of this is my position. All right, dude, you're the interim champ. You're a young kid. You got a long career ahead of you, right? Take your fucking time. Respect your elders. Give John Jones and Stipe the respect that they deserve. Shut your fucking mouth. Fight again. Take another fight. Like, do whatever you got to do. If you're as good as you just
Every
fucking
time
knocked
he's
out
getting
the
ready
Russian,
to.
that was.
There we go. Yeah. No, you're good. Go ahead. You froze up for a minute. You're good.
Can you hear me? Well, my
Yeah.
position is that like Tom should just chill out, dude. Like you're fucking good. If you're as confident as everybody thinks you are, like it doesn't matter who you fight. Just keep fighting. Fuck it. Keep fighting. Defend your interim title as many times as you want. Show up, beat the shit out of everybody like you can, and your time will come.
I
I
mean,
think what
let's.
it is he
I
wants to
think
fight John Jones, and he wants to take out John Jones and be the guy who took out John Jones,
Yeah.
which I understand. Like he wants to be the guy who fucking beat the
Woo.
goat.
That's a nice little line on your resume for sure.
Yeah, and I
it's
get it.
just one of those situations where nobody's like John's right for feeling the way that he does and what he's
Yeah,
vocalized on social. Aspinall has a bit of a point when it comes to certain things, but at the end of the day, a Stipe Jones fight, you don't have to have a belt attached to that. And I personally
yeah,
think if you're going to end your legacy with the asterisk that you have, because let's face it, no matter what you say or how you feel, there's an asterisk there, right?
yeah.
To make that asterisk just a little bit smaller, vacate your belt,
Who
come
John?
back. You don't need a the Stipe Jones fight for the legacy. I agree it should be there. It doesn't need a belt attached to it. Vacate your belt, fight Stipe. He's on his way out. Let him go. You're the guy that then retired Stipe Miocic, so you can add that to it. Circle back around. By that time, if Aspinall's still as good as the hype says he is, which I believe he is, I believe he mows through Cyril Gahn. I don't personally see a challenge in that. A little bit of a challenge, but nothing that he needs to worry about. And in a year and a half, because let's face it, John had a pec injury, and now he just had elbow surgery.
Yeah,
So you're not even looking at August anymore, man. And why hold up a division when
John's
you're
not
on
going
the?
to fight again until 2025.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And you know
thinking.
what?
But
And
here's the thing, I've met John, right? I've had intimate conversations with John. Like we've spoken on multiple occasions. The dude is a savage. He doesn't give a fuck. Like John Jones will fight Tom Aspinall. He doesn't give a shit. He'll fight Tom
I agree.
Aspinall.
Yeah.
No, I
So
agree.
it's a one-way street. It's like if I'm John Jones, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Like I'm injured, and when I'm back, I'm back. I'll fight whoever the fuck you put in front of me. When I hurt my knee, I was outside the hotel in Atlanta, and I got ice on my knee, and I'm standing there with John, and we're talking, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a little older. I already know I tore my ACL. Like, I've torn it before. I know what it looks like. I know the recovery time. I don't know that necessarily there's another fight for me. This is probably it. And like with the stone cold face, he just looks at me. He's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just like that's the mindset of a world champion. He's just like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you just rehab your knee and come back and fight. Like me, I'm thinking like, fuck, man, this is gonna suck. I'm older. I may never fight again. He's like, in his brain, it's, oh yeah, without a doubt, I'm fighting again. You know what I mean? Like, so he's thinking he's gonna fight again. It's just a matter of when, and he doesn't care who.
And
You
he's
know,
also comfortable enough now that if he needs to wait a year, he could wait a year, and it's not really going to impact
it
him
is what
too
it
much.
is. He don't give a shit.
Going on.
He's got enough money, and he can
Yeah.
always hit up his little brothers for some cash too, because they made enough money in the NFL.
I'll tell you what. In a different world, I think John Jones versus not Alex Pereira, because John Jones would have wrestled him, but John Jones versus Aspinall probably would have been the perfect UFC 300 main event. You know, that would have been the greatest fighter of all
John
time.
Jones versus Francis Ngannou.
No, oh my God, John Jones would mow right through him.
You
My
think?
God, it'd be over so
I don't know,
quick.
man. I sparred with Francis too. I've worked out with Francis. Francis is no mow through. You don't just mow through Francis.
What about Cyril Gahn? What about Cyril Gahn against John Jones?
What about Cyril Gahn? John Jones beat Cyril Gahn, but you know, MMA math doesn't always calculate that way.
I know,
I don't
but
think
I'm just saying,
anyone mows through Francis ever.
What's Ngannou have that Cyril Gahn didn't have?
I mean, wrestling defense.
You think?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think Francis can defend the takedown better than Cyril Gahn, for sure.
Maybe slightly, but John Jones was a junior national wrestling champion.
No,
you know?
John Jones is legit wrestling, and it's funny too because John and I were talking about that in out front of the hotel too, and I don't know if you remember, but John had gotten in Francis's face that night in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and I said
remember.
to John, I said, I'm pretty sure, because I was right there, right next to him, and I was like, John, I'm pretty sure I saw you say to him, you don't want this smoke. And he was like, that's exactly what I said to him. I said, you don't want this smoke. And I also asked him, has his wrestling gotten any better? I was like,
oh yeah.
But listen, I've wrestled with Francis. Francis can fucking wrestle, man. Francis,
he can go?
Yeah,
right.
If you look at my Instagram, that's a picture of fucking Francis on my back. He can wrestle, man, and he's heavy. He's heavy. He can wrestle, so.
Well, he's having his own success right now over in boxing. I actually think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and work out with him in March. At the end of March.
Maybe I'm buying the hype, but I think Francis Ngannou has a real good chance against Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, why not?
You know?
Yeah, I mean, you saw what he did with Tyson Fury.
Anthony Joshua quit.
Yeah, he could beat Anthony Joshua. Francis Ngannou can knock out anyone on this planet at any given moment. That's what kind of power he has.
I was pulling for him against Tyson Fury, man. I really was.
Yeah,
some people thought he won.
I was pulling for Conor to beat fucking Floyd too.
Yeah.
One for the MMA guys.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, Brady, Jake Paul. What do you now? Hey, well, let's pivot a little bit. So you're there's the red panty night. No, let's pivot a little bit. So just for anybody that doesn't know, so that was I'm taking it that was you were out at what syndicate, correct?
Is that where Extreme Couture.
It's I don't know why I said syndicate. I always think Vegas. Yeah, so you were at Extreme Couture. It's every time.
Yeah, I'm here.
The juicy detail. Extreme. So what are you thinking of? What's Strickland like in the gym?
Strickland's cool, man. Like he has that fucking how he acts in that persona, which is real. But like when you're one-on-one with him, like he was fucking cool, man. Like he did hit me with like, all right, big motherfucker, let's go. When we got in the cage, so I was at their wrestling practice the day before, and he asked me if I was coming back for sparring. So I came back the next day, and so I did. It's funny, I got in the cage with Sean, and him and I did 3 rounds. And then as I'm walking down the fucking stairs from the cage, Francis is at the bottom of the steps. And Francis is like, now you got 2 rounds with me. And I'm like, can I wash the blood off? He's like, hurry. So I washed the blood off on my face, and then I went and did 2 rounds with Francis. So as you can imagine, I did 5 rounds with fucking 2 world champions. And that was a rough 5 rounds, brother. That was a rough 5 rounds. But that just goes to show, like, it's funny because when I was out there, I told my wife I was going to go over to Couture, and I went there with specific intentions on trying to spar with Sean because I wanted to find out with like what it was all about, and you know the legacy that is Sean with sparring and you know everything that goes with his what's the word I'm looking for? You know, that the rumor that is his sparring. You know, so I went there with specific intentions on sparring him. And I remember my wife just calling me an idiot. She was like, I don't know why you need to do that. Like, what is it? Like, what's wrong with your brain that says you have to go out and try to spar the person that is a notorious hard spar that like is gonna try to hurt you? And I just said, like, I have to find out. Like, something in my brain says, like, you have to find out if you can. And I could, and I did. And he didn't knock me out. Stood toe to toe with him. I actually took him down in the last round. And look, he's a fucking warrior. And he actually we took a picture and he posted it on his Instagram of him and I in the cage. And Sean's a good dude, man. Like, I think he gets a lot of bad rap because of some of the shit that he says, but you know, some of it's true. Some of it's fucking true. And
Yeah.
you know, he's not that fucking. He's not an asshole. He's a good dude.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pat. You're on the fighter's side of things. You see through a fighter's eyes. I'm on the fan side of things these days. I see things through a fan's eyes. We don't view Sean Strickland and Colby Covington as the same. Sean Strickland has inspired T-shirts in my T-shirt collection.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
and honestly, with Colby, like, I don't think Colby's an asshole too. I think a lot of what Colby is doing is a shtick, right?
of course
Like,
it is. No.
it's a
That dude.
shtick. Honestly, like, and I don't even know that he really wants to do it anymore. He might be fucking over it. Like, oh,
No,
dude.
dude. That is well known that it's a shtick, but it's well
Yeah.
known amongst the fans that that's Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is a real dude. It's not
Yeah.
forced. It's not some character he came
Yeah.
up with.
It's not a
He's literally
character.
saying what he
Yeah.
wants. And you
No.
know what? We as fans, we love Sean Strickland. Maybe a couple people don't like Sean Strickland, but
Yeah.
like the fan base, we don't look at him and Colby Covington
Yeah.
as the same.
Yeah.
Sean's
Yeah.
authentic. You know, we dig
Sean's authentic.
authentic.
Yeah.
Oh
That
yeah,
makes it even better. I mean, Colby, the character, I met him personally, sat and had a conversation with him one time. That Colby that you see on TV is not the Colby
No.
that you get in real life. He's definitely not. And it's a shame, but at the end of the day, that's something he felt he needed to do, and he made it. He is what it is.
worked.
But it's like
It worked for him.
It worked for him for a long time. But but no, Sean is just. I think Sean visually best represents American blue blood, that age group, American working Joe, stiff guy, like, who just kept on fucking working. And like you said that one time, you blinked that you were just, hey, I'm gonna do this, and you blinked, and there's look this way, and there's Joe Rogan. You look this way, there's Bruce Buffer. I'm sure Pat has some of the same, similar stories. But it's like Sean just kind of kept at it, and
there's no blue collar working early 40s, mid 40-year-olds guy that looks at Sean Strickland and gives that guy a bad rap. We love that guy. We love that dude.
Boys, I hate to cut this short, but I gotta run. I gotta go in and handle something. It was a pleasure being on here and talking with you guys. I'd love to come on and do an official announcement when everything's all hashed out and we could talk about specifics and we can review these hands.
Hey, I'll tell you what, real quick, Pat, before you dip out, how does anybody support you, man? What's Instagram follow, Facebook follow?
Yeah, just go on my Instagram at Heavyweight Brady, and yeah, man, I don't do much of I don't ask anybody for anything. I go to work every day, work my ass off, and do what I got to do.
Yeah, shout out Brady Renovations. This is his company. It's on Facebook. Check him out, man. If you get the chance, Pat, we'll have you on anytime, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on. And Bill,
thanks,
watch
Pat. We
over your
appreciate
shoulder.
you.
I'm looking for you, Bill. I'm looking for you, brother.
You point stealing motherfucker.
See you, boys.
See
you, bud. Hit me up, Pat. Pat the Brick Brady.
That guy's fun, man. Dude, I like that guy.
That's, you know what, when we were back and forth, and I'm like, man, he goes, what's up? Because Pat's done some extensive interviews. Like, he did a lot of media for PFL. And he's like, well, I'm like, man, this is a hang, bro. Come on, we don't got to talk about your story. If you want to look at your story, there's plenty of media out there about your story. If you don't know who Pat Brady is, look him the fuck up.
I'm hoping for the best of him. You know what? And now that he's off, I don't want to say anything that would get him in trouble. But if he's talking what I think he's talking, woo! Like, I mean, I like wrestling and I like MMA and I like kicks and I like submissions and stuff. But a big motherfucking heavyweight sitting there bare knuckle in front of another freaking heavyweight. He said there's no gloves involved. I can only guess that I would love to see Pat do something like that, man.
In
I think
completely unrelated news this week,
good.
Mark Hunt said he's back, and he announced some intentions to fight for an organization that I don't remember the name of, but he talked about something similar as well.
I'll tell you what, if he can get an athletic commission to clear him, that would be impressive.
He's damn near 50.
Yeah, he's 50. He's had God knows how many fights. I mean, geez, I'm telling you flat out, if I'm the athletic commissioner in or the executive director in a state, I really call everybody in to ask why we're doing this. We're putting a 50-year-old guy in there who's war torn with young warriors that are hungry and would love to make a name off him. If he can get an athletic commission to clear him at 50 for some bare knuckle shit, I'd be really, really impressed.
Well, bare knuckles got its arm in Asia, and he's from New Zealand, so who's to say that we ever even see him over here? But
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it is what it is. While we were talking about something before, Pat came up in the thread a couple of times during some conversations we had. We mentioned it on a previous show, but we're going to rewind back to the last UFC event, December 16th, as we started to get into it. Pat jumped in. We were invited as media to 247. Shout out 247, our friends out there over in Pittsburgh. But you could not attend, so I went in your stead. My brother attended. But you were at the casino with your brother, hanging out, family obligations and all. We get that. And to set this up for the folks, you were what, on like an 8 or 10, 15 leg parlay, that the last fight on this parlay for you to make almost $2,000.
It had been a rough couple of weeks in my gambling ventures. We were let's just say we were not in the green. Okay, we were down a couple bucks, and anyway, we were down a few bucks, and I had this parlay that I shot through probably 3 or 4 months prior. I mean,
hold on, pause. We were down several $100s. I like the we. And then immediately, as soon as it spins positive with this great parlay, it goes to I. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Carry on. I'm just calling it as I see it.
There you go. So anyway, me and my magnificent fortune-telling future. I have a crystal ball I can see. I picked these. It was probably like a 2 or 3 month parlay. And one by one, these fighters are winning fights on a card. It's not like just like multiple guys. It's very selected guys that I'm like, yeah, that guy normally doesn't lose. Well, anyway, I am, as any sports gambler knows, my God, you string something like this together, you get to the last one, and it's supposed to be like the easiest bet on the card, and somehow the favorite loses to some 0-win team, and you're like, okay, God hates me. That's the
like when you lose a $13,000 parlay because Valentina Shevchenko gets choked out, and you have a $13,000 parlay. Yeah, I fully understand. Carry on. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you're like, that wouldn't happen. God doesn't hate me that much, and then all of a sudden
I was already spending that money.
Yeah, you're like, good one, big guy, you got me. Well, anyway, we the fight beforehand, I want to say it was Alexandra Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. Okay, so I needed that one to hit yet, and it hit, and here we are. I'm one fight away from winning $2,000.
Tommy Aspinall. If Tommy Aspinall wins, he gets $2,000.
No, it wasn't Aspinall. It was Leon Edwards. No,
Leon Edwards. Sorry, Leon Edwards. It wasn't Tommy.
It was Leon Edwards. And I'm like, everything in my gut told me Leon should beat Colby. So I stepped outside just to get some air because I was genuinely nervous. It wasn't an act. Like, because I needed this, okay? I needed this to make the month right. So $2,000 is on the line, and this is a legitimate. What Garrett's about to show you is legitimately how I was feeling at the time.
So fast forward, we leave the 247 show. We get back to the hotel, and we got everything set up for the pay-per-view. We're watching the pay-per-view, and I got the laptop up, and I get my phone, and this message dings, and I walk over to the computer because we're streaming it onto the TV, and it's this. I'm gonna pull this up. So Bill decided to pray, and not only did he decide to pray, but he decided to take an excerpt from the Jelly Roll song, and we're gonna put you here. I gotta figure out these new controls. Wait a minute, we're back in.
Dude.
So who the hell am I? Who the hell am I to request a savior? And I only talk to God when I need a favor. God, I need a favor.
So that was we had played it the other week, and there was no sound, and 2 or 3 people commented in the comments. They're like, we want to hear what sounds. So I figured out how to get it on here. But yeah, so we had to set the backstory up for anybody that wasn't listening.
One, I botched the words. It's who am I to expect a savior? Oh my God, that's legitimately how I was feeling. And if Colby Covington would have somehow won that fight, a single tear would have rolled down my cheek. Like I would have been so upset.
Well, and then a Sarah McLachlan song would have started playing in the background, like one of them ASPCA commercials.
Yeah, it would have been horrible. I
think you losing $2,000 wouldn't have been the worst thing that happened had Colby Covington beat Leon Edwards and was now the champion of the world.
Yeah, I was feeling good that night, man. The drinks had been flowing during the early prelims, the main card. I was doing it big because I thought I was going to win. I was sure I was going to win. And hey, like I said in a video to my friends, score one for the good guys. The good guys won that night.
Yeah, for sure.
I collected my little $2,000 and been giving back slowly ever since.
And with that being said, speaking of giving back, actually, I'm going to digress real quick. So I've been behind the scenes playing. Hold on. I just now saw this, and I would be remiss if I did not let you know that your singing got Brett wet.
Would you say moist? Would you say moist, Brent?
I think he went full wet. I think he went full wet. Like the ass at ringside or at cage side was moist. Watching you come down them steps and your little calf muscles flexing, I'm sure Brett was moist then. This is full blown. Yeah. Needs to change his Depends. Full blown. So
very nice.
No, so I've been kind of like shopping some stuff around and had some offers, and so for anybody that's asked, preliminarily we got merch coming. That's all I can say. I'm not at liberty or want to speak on anything else on it right now, but we got some merch coming, some other things. And the merch, regardless of what we get set up, people have asked about it. Merch is coming. Part of the profits, we got to figure out logistics, but part of the profits are going to be going back into like a fighter fund. And I think you're going to start seeing the Fight Show logo on some more local fighters because we are for sure about the local fighters because eventually the local stars, much like our good friend Pat the Brick Brady, who was on here with us earlier and who will be back soon, are the future. So those are the guys that you will see on TV. So pay attention to the local scene around you, and you'll never know who you're going to run into. So the regional shows, I think, are always the funnest. We said that the other week. If we had the choice to go to UFC in Atlantic City or go see Micah's retirement fight, wherever Micah's having a retirement fight at, that we're not at liberty to discuss, we would go to the Micah Taro fight. So
I'll tell you what, I'll drop a little bombshell here. A local guy around here, very, very, very good kickboxer, a guy named Jake Kelly. We dropped a couple coins in his pocket, and we're actually sponsoring him for a world title kickboxing fight in July in Scotland of this year. So he is actually fighting tomorrow night in New York for another title. And if he wins that one, I'd like to actually have him here on the show, man. I want to start giving back to some local fighters and stuff and start helping them along their way. So,
yeah, I wish you'd start lining up some damn guests. This fucking shit's exhausting.
I got you, man. Like, I'm pretty sure he wins this fight tomorrow night in New York. I'll see if I can't get him on the show next week. Zach Kelly.
I just like how we ended the year.
Sorry, Jake Kelly. Zach is his brother who has other non-glove offers on the table. So
we I don't even remember what I was going to say. I lost it completely. It's gone. It is fucking going.
Yeah, let's start. That's a hell of an idea, man. I want to start giving back to some local fighters.
Yeah, no, and the other portion of it, and that's why I said we got to figure out logistics. Like I said, the framework's kind of in place. Anybody will be able to go order them online. I do know that much. We got some ideas, preliminarily, anyways. And if this one doesn't go through, I got some more ideas on the back burner. But real quick, wanted to remind you guys that you can slide over. Speaking of people that we like to promote on our show, you can slide over to CannaDips.com and pick up this Go Fuel Mocha with 150 milligrams of caffeine. Well, sorry, 150 milligrams of CBG, 375 milligrams of caffeine. We are proud to partner with CannaDips.com. Code FightShow for 20% off your order. If you're a smoker and you're trying to quit, I can speak for personal experience. These things are awesome. If you're not,
very important. Does not show up on drug tests. All that fun shit.
No, they sell these at Sheetz. In our local area, I don't know. I'm sure there's other places that sell it too around there. Humboldt, California, the OGs. But no, it's CBD based, THC free. Will not show up on a piss test.
People panic when they hear CBD. So.
Yeah, there's a stigma with that. There's definitely a lot of stuff attached to it. I've had the privilege of working with some veterans that have done a lot of stuff with CBD, THC, and psychedelics, and definitely opened my mind a little bit more than it was already open on some stuff. Just gave me some insight that I didn't know. But yeah, CannaDips.com, 20% off. Code FightShow. Christy wants Bill to model some merch. We are not getting FightShow thongs. We are not getting FightShow thongs.
Debatable.
So
maybe.
I did have, you know what? I want to see. Let me see if I can pull this up. And I wanted to pull it up while Pat was here, and I didn't want it to affect the show. So I think it's this one.
Hey, with what we were talking about earlier, I am going to go back to YouTube and rewatch that fight. I think it was the fourth time the mouthpiece came out that I took the point. I don't think it was quite the third time. I think it was the fourth time. Third time doesn't sound like some shit I would do. Not for a mouthpiece in a close fight. Fourth time, I have to. I'm gonna go back and check that. I could be wrong. I've been hitting the head a lot over the years. So
I got something I want to bring up here. Man, this is. Compared to somebody else next week, we'll know.
I'm gonna next. I guess I'm here by myself right now. Next Thursday, I'm gonna see what I can do to pick a 5-round sparring fight with Pat Brady. See if I drive down to his gym if he'll give me 5 minutes. Don't hurt.
You said 5 rounds.
No,
you said 5
no.
rounds. You said 5 rounds first.
I said 5 minutes.
No. We're gonna run it back. I'm gonna clip this. You said 5 rounds.
You can go ahead and clip it. I've never said 5 rounds.
You just... to try and find this. That was not the video I wanted to find. That was the original. That was the show clip, but we added more. Go ahead and start. I don't know, bitch about something.
Okay. It turns out I did say 5 rounds. I obviously meant 5 minutes. You guys don't want to see an actual live murder on fucking a podcast, do you? I would not last 5 rounds with Pat Brady. My God, it's gonna take everything I have to get 5 minutes in with the guy. If he agrees to spar with me, which I'm sure he probably will at some point. I don't want him to be bearing down on a fight. I want it to be real easy, real fun. But yeah, I could maybe do 3 or 4 minutes with Pat at 50%, and then the last 60 seconds, I'll let him turn it up. Let's have some fun. Fuck it. I can't last 5 minutes. 5 rounds. Sorry,
that's what she
said. I can't last. Yeah, right. I can't last 5 rounds with Pat Brady. I can't last 5 rounds with any fighter currently.
You know what? I edited it, and I think it was on my phone. But there was a nice little edit where we slowed down where you said 5 rounds and we,
Yeah.
Anyways, no. So
All
that
right.
was.
So I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. I still would like to get that sparring round in with Pat when he doesn't have a fight coming up and when shit's nice and easy for him. You know what? It would be a hell of a motivating factor for me to even try and get back a little bit in shape. You know, just maybe put the beer down so much and stuff. Yeah, I want to do 5 minutes with the Brit. Let's go. That would be good content. Hell, I want to do 5 minutes with Sean Strickland if I can get that shit hooked up. But I gotta work back towards the right things in the meantime.
Yeah, no, and I think I don't know why I have this like brain block when it comes to Syndicate and Extreme Couture. But in my head, I knew Pat was an Extreme Couture when he said about sparring with Francis and sparring with Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was an Extreme Couture, but then when I opened my mouth and went to talk to him, I said Syndicate, and I don't know why I always it's like a brain block. I mean CTE. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's something. I am sending myself something here so I can. I want to get this up just because we did it, so we might as well put it on the air. So, anyways, next week we got Saturday. Is a Saturday show. Because Bill is. Now, see, that sound's not going to come through the thing. No, anyways, I'm sorry. I'm fading out, and Bill's not doing anything to save me here. Next Saturday is our show because Bill has to work on Thursday, and we have Primo Bellarosa coming through. He's a Muay Thai coach. He's done commentating. He's done a lot of stuff. So we will be talking to him next week. It'll be Saturday at 7 p.m. instead of the normal Thursday because old Billy Boy's got to work overnight.
Yeah, lame.
It's all right, man. Somebody's got to pay the bookie. I mean,
yeah, no shit.
somebody's got to pay that bookie, man.
Yeah, or they start breaking things. They want their money.
Anyways, yeah, they always want their money. Yes, yeah. The guys from ESPN Bet are going to come beat on my door. No, I haven't bet in a couple weeks, actually. I won that. Oh, what the hell was his name? I think it was the 16th card or the card before December. I think it was the card before December 16th. The card previously before that, I got like plus 500 odds or something like that, or plus, I forget what I got. I got some crazy odds for him to finish by submission. And I had heard a clip the week before. It was an interview, and he was getting tired of people saying he couldn't grapple. So I'm like, I'm gonna take these odds. And sure enough,
I'll tell you what. Again, not a gambling show. Joshua Van, Magomed Ankalaev parlay this week. They both win. I don't know. It's probably close to even money, whatever it is. But Joshua Van is the opening fight on the prelims, and Magomed Ankalaev, I believe that's the main event.
Yeah, it is the main event. The rematch with Walker back in the desert.
Yeah,
I'm getting ready to pull it up now. We can start looking at it while we're talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Can we just? I mean, we've suffered through the barren fucking wasteland. We went 27 days without any MMA.
Yeah,
can I just say?
I'm a junkie, bro.
Say that, like, and first of all, we've already discussed this. I was watching the Anik and Florian podcast the other day, and John Anik went on this tirade, and I clipped it. I just haven't got it to you yet. But he's like, "What the fuck do you want? Do you want it every fucking week?" I'm like, "Oh, that Bill needs to know that." Yes, we want it every week, John Anik.
Yes, every fucking week. Yes.
But
now, no, you've conditioned me to this. Yes, I want an event every fucking week now.
And I said too, like I said that the earnings call it was a conference with Greg Shapiro from TKO, which is the UFC WWE parent company. They in their contract have the option to expand programming, and they did 43 events last year. So one would assume you take out the natural July 4th, the July 4th, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you take those major holidays out, that leaves you with about 49, 48 weeks that you could fill with MMA for Bill. But on the 13th, you got Ankalaev versus Walker, which we're getting ready to go over. Strickland Duplessis, the 20th of January. So that's 2 in January. We're looking at 3 right off the door. Boom, boom, boom. Which, of course, Joey Pfeiffer, which if you didn't hear today, I posted it. Joey Pfeiffer beat Francis's record on that machine at the PI.
Yeah, dude, Joe, I've said that from episodes. You could clip it. You could go back. I've never seen a guy sit down on his punches like Joe Pfeiffer does. When he's throwing that kill shot, when I say he gets heavy on his feet, I mean he gets heavy. That guy hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah, Sean Brady was just talking about on the JRE podcast today. A, he said that Joe Pfeiffer hits harder than anybody's ever sparred with. And B, yes. There was that video, that famous video going around when Francis was still in the UFC, about the punching machine at the UFC PI, and he hit it. It was the world record punch, and he was the hardest puncher in the world, and there was accuracy in that statement. Well, apparently, Joey Pfeiffer punched it 3 times and got consistent results, and the guy wouldn't give him the... But yeah, Sean Brady talked about it on the Joe Rogan podcast today, but we're digressing a little bit. That's February. You got Volk Tapora on the 17th, Moreno in Mexico City on the 24th. The Saudi card, which hasn't even materialized yet. I don't think you're going to see Islam on that card because of Ramadan, but I may be mistaken because Ramadan's like March to April. Although I think this does fall in before Ramadan.
O'Malley Vera too. That's a banger.
O'Malley Vera a week after that. You know what I'm saying? Then there's the Boardwalk Hall card in Atlantic City. Then you got Bajori versus Allen at the Apex, which is going to be awesome. This was just announced 300. Wei Li Zhang versus Pietro Yan's sister that doesn't look anything like her. Of course, Charles Oliveira, Sakarian, Sarukian. I don't know why I always do that. Arman Sarukian, Yuri Prohaska, Rakic. I just saw an interview with Rakic the other day. I'm excited for that fight. Of course, Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, and Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage. But we're, as usual, getting ahead of ourselves by about 4 months. So
that's an exciting card. That is our WrestleMania. Can you imagine being asked to be on UFC 300? That means the company thinks.
So Mike, speaking of Mike Perry, because I keep track of all the constant fuckery around. Mike Perry was on his podcast today, and he called Hunter Campbell from the UFC. Those of you that don't know who Hunter Campbell is, he's an executive with Endeavor. He's been around since before the TKO merger, but he's that guy with the glasses that spoke on the McGregor USADA stuff at that press conference. But anyways, yeah, he called Hunter Campbell live on the internet and said, I want to be on 300. And on speakerphone, just like doesn't even tell the guy, just calls him up, hey, yo, and just starts having this conversation. So it was pretty entertaining.
Mike Perry did that.
Yeah, there's a clip on. I posted a screenshot of it. I'll see if I can find the video.
I would almost have to think, don't you think Mike Perry's under contract with BKFC? Or is that like one by one fight?
They let him, apparently, according to the interview today, they let him do whatever the fuck he wants as long as it's not anything bare knuckle.
No shit. That's cool, man. Dave Feldman's a cool cat for that.
Yeah. Hopefully someday we'll get to talk to him.
We'll see.
We'll go down here and check out. We'll go all the way down to the bottom of the prelims because it's the first fight we've had in 27 days and we're all jonesing.
Yeah, for sure. Joshua Van wins that opening one.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That was one half of your parlay that you wanted to.
Yeah, Josh Van wins that one. Oh, another parlay. Again, this is not a betting show. Not a betting show. Joey Pfeiffer beats Hermanson and Brendan Allen beats Martin Vittori. That's a lot.
Who are you?
Cash it.
Who are you doing your? What do you do? What is your major platform for sport betting?
DraftKings or FanDuel. Bet Openly is cool, but you have to wait for somebody to take your bet on Bet Openly. It's like peer-to-peer. Where you could log into DraftKings right now and make a bet and they would take it. On Bet Openly, they don't take the VIG. They only charge 1%, but you have to put your bet out there and hope somebody takes it. And it's you against him. They don't care. They just collect their 1%.
Oh, it's a peer-to-peer. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I never even heard of that one. No, I use
DraftKings is where I know they'll take my bet right away.
I've been meaning to get over to. I want to get over to DraftKings. I don't bet enough, but I've always used since I started really sports betting was it was Barstool, now it's ESPN Bet, but it's through Penn National, so it's through Hollywood. Yep. Where you were at the Hollywood in Grantville, their sports books now ESPN Bet sports book. So
correct, it was Barstool with Dave Portnoy, but then that whole thing did what it did, and now it's ESPN Bet. Yeah, don't stay off ESPN Bet.
The crazy part, you don't bet on it at all.
Nope, I stopped betting on ESPN Bet, and like I said, I don't want to turn into a gambling show, but real quick. Any other sports book out there, if you create a parlay and there is what they call a push, like it's a tie, neither side won or lost, any other sports book out there will just void that bet and continue on like your bet is still live. ESPN Bet, once you push one event, they void the bet and just refund your money. You know, they consider a lost bet. So that's why I got off of ESPN Bet.
Unless they have a line where it's a draw. Well, they have a lot more lines where there's draws now. It's definitely and again, Barstool was just the branding on it.
But I will say this: if anybody is out there, do not gamble, do not bet.
Don't bet more than anything. Don't bet more than anything you are prepared to lose. This is not financial advice.
Correct. No, this is financial advice. If you want to bet a UFC card and you're not like big up on gambling, throw $20 in there and bet $1 or $2 a fight. Dude, gambling is a bad deal all around. So, PSA, the Mannheim Strangler and Fight Show Live, we love you, and we don't want to see like bad shit happen. So, yeah, don't gamble if you can.
And for the sake of anybody watching that's a regulator on the internet, this is not financial advice, and we are not financial advisors. With that being said, Tom Nolan, I think Tom Nolan's got a shot to win that one. He looked impressive. Was that even in the UFC? 6-0. No, that was. I watched him somewhere else actually. Now that I think about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar. I just know at the very bottom. I've seen clips of Josh Allen fight before. Man, that guy's aggressive as shit. Like visually,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Nicholas Mota. Nick Mota, the guy. The guy. Nick Mota. He's a former CFFC champion out there in the Philly, Jersey area. So he's legit.
Yeah, so he's gonna might have his hands full with that one. Weston Wilson, Gene Silva.
I do not know much about that fight.
No, Weston Wilson sounds familiar, and I'm trying to find. No, these are all newer guys on these cards.
Yeah.
And we gotta wait. You gotta wade through a little bit of this. Like you're not for all the stacked cards we're getting. I'm excited. I think this card, besides the Walker Ankalaev fight, I'm most excited for Gaston Bolanos.
Fareed Basharat, he's very good. They want to promote him overseas. The Snow Leopard, Snow Leopard, I believe his nickname is. He's good. McGee is good. Oh, Matthew Semmelsberger of Gettysburg and Fight World.
Frederick. He trains out of Frederick.
Yeah, he's a local guy.
Yeah, so he's a little bit between us and DC, just north of DC.
Guy has like the sweetest mullet I've ever seen in my life. Jesus Christ! Yeah, if I could grow that thing, I would.
I am also excited about Andre Arlovsky. I lie. Anytime Andre Arlovsky, he's been fighting since 1999.
Wow, man, that's insane. I don't think Andre Arlovsky. I think he'll slow it down. He can't compete in an active fight with a young guy, so he really, really stays on the outside. He circles. He tries to slow the fight down as much as possible, and he's been doing it for a long ass time. So yeah, shout out Andre. Man, that's good.
Phil Hawes, Bruno Ferreira. Phil Hawes just fought.
Yeah, man. That's you know what? I look for Phil Hawes to bounce back here. That Ferreira guy, he knocked out Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. And so I think there he was, they knew not to take him lightly. Yeah, Hawes, let's see.
Yeah, the win over Dawkins. That's the one I remember. Only I was tuning in for.
Who'd he beat above Curtis? Who was that win against? No, the Dawkins brothers are out of the UFC right now.
That's what I was saying. I didn't think Kyle was still in.
No.
Curtis. What's the Curtis? I mean, he's been all over the place. 12-5, not a bad record, not terrible.
No, this
Alex
this is a good bounce back
Skarov's
spot.
tough, man. Yeah.
This is a good Alex Skarov's very good. Like probably top 5, top 7 in the world good. Phil Hawes is good. This is probably a great bounce back spot for him. But that Ferreira guy, who'd he lose to last time? He got knocked out.
Hawes has a 5.5-inch reach advantage in that fight.
Yeah, who'd he lose to his last fight? He knocked out Gregory Rodriguez. Yeah, there that.
Yeah, and then he lost to.
Oh yeah, that's another one of those Marquez guys out of Philadelphia. Rzhebiov.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that it was his first fight?
Yeah.
Is that him? I don't want to get it wrong. There was a guy out of Marquez MMA. It was his first fight, short notice. He fought a weight class up, and he looks like one of those Rachmanov kind of guys.
Yeah.
And he just came in and he wiped the floor with the dude. Oh, you're
Purple
deep.
belt.
Yeah, you're deep in the UFC website here. Is that the guy out of Philly?
I don't know.
I hope I'm not confusing with the wrong guy.
I mean, you might be. You of anybody would know, you would know. It's not.
I got to sharpen up my game here.
You do. I mean, you got to start tightening this stuff up because I don't.
We'll go on.
Mario Batista, Ricky Simon.
Ricky Simone.
Oh, sorry,
is the guy that you remember that fight where Murad Divashvili was like in a mounted guillotine and he's like doing the bicycle from the bottom and he looked like he was out, but he wasn't, but maybe he was. But then the clock ran out in the third round. It was in New Jersey. That was Ricky Simone that fought him. So I think Ricky Simone gets that one just on gas tank and takedowns alone. Jim fucking Miller, which my God,
Speak of the devil.
I hope the UFC gives him that.
We're gonna digress on that because Jim Miller in all my fuckery today. Jim Miller put a post up, and I had it here. I thought I'll pull it up here quick. It's on my Facebook. Which, if you don't follow me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. Where are we at here? It was earlier today. I post a lot. Jim Miller wants to start a petition to have Bruce Buffer introduce him as Jim fucking Miller at UFC 300. So in all my fuckery today, I decided to do where we at 17 signatures. We were at, I think, 10 or 12 when we started the show. I checked before. No, it was 11 before we started the show. So we're at 17. So maybe just maybe if you guys blow this up on the fucking internet, start sharing it with all your friends, go to my page, share the post, get the petition out. All Jim Miller wants is for him to curse. And I know they've been kind of cracking down a little bit on guys cursing on the post fights and guys jumping on the cage. So, but we absolutely insist that if Jim Miller fights at 300, which we're going back
for those that don't know, for those that don't know the background, Jim Miller has fought at UFC 100, UFC 200, and if everything goes right, he's going to be fighting at UFC 300. If you have fought at UFC 100, 200, 300, one, that's fucking impossible. Like, that's not even possible to have a career that long in mixed martial arts and be that successful that you can fight on all three events. But if in the odd chance that you somehow accomplish this feat, you are allowed to be called whatever the fuck you want. Anything you want to be called, I will fucking call you that. Because that's impossible. That's nobody can fight at 100, 200, and 300. That's impossible. Most
I'm just gonna look it up here on Tapology.
Most mixed martial arts careers in the UFC are probably 4 years or less, give or take. If you have somehow managed to string together a 20, 25-year career in mixed martial arts at the highest level, you deserve to be called whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, for those that don't even know, Jim Miller was fighting for CFFC and Ring of Combat back in like 2007 before Bill even put MMA gloves on. You weren't even fighting, I don't think, in 2007, were you?
No, I didn't have my first fight till 2010. No, Jim Miller, like I can't believe he's done it at this level for this long. That's fucking insane.
So UFC 100, just to clarify, 2009. So even if you just go back that far, that's still pretty fucking impressive. Not quite as long as Andrei Arlovsky, but you know.
Listen. If it was a normal career, Jim Miller should have been out of here back in like 2013. You know, he's not supposed to still be fighting in 2024 in the UFC. That's nuts.
Yeah. So, like we said, guys, if you were watching, go sign the petition. See if we got any more. We're 17. Eric, shout out. We got one. Eric Cowell from my MMA News. Shout out to Eric Cowell. He did a little. Excuse me. Did a little. Oh, that card hit.
I do that too sometimes.
Excuse me. I don't know. I might not. I haven't had a bone in it. Sorry, I digress. Coughing in the mic and shit. Bad etiquette.
The real ones know. The real ones know.
The real ones know. No, yeah. Anyways, shout out to Jim Miller, Jersey staple. You know how we feel about our Mid-Atlantic East Coast guys.
Hold on, we were shouting out Eric Wall there for a second. What's he?
Oh shit! Shout out to Eric, my MMA News. He did a little write up on it before I started dying. I was talking about it. There's an article on that, mymmanews.com, for all your MMA news. They're pretty on top of it, actually.
Hey, and by the way, Bruce Buffer has no issue with calling him that. This is the UFC brass. Whether it does or does not.
I don't even know if it's the UFC brass. But as I alluded to in my petition, if Dana can pull off camo shorts,
yeah, that's true.
Then he can make this happen.
Yeah, you call this guy whatever the fuck he wants to be called. That's the respect that deserves.
It's lingering. Manuel Cape.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah. And of course, Johnny Walker. ESPN's giving odds at minus 455 favorite.
Magomed Ankalaev is the uncrowned 205-pound champion. He is. He beat Jan Blachowicz in that fight.
Does he beat Alex Pereira?
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, he takes Alex Pereira right down and does whatever he wants. No, Ankalaev is the real deal. He's good. He's a very, very good fighter. We were talking earlier about athletic big men. Ankalaev is very put together. He's not sloppy. He's not slow. He's not fat. He's a very good fighter. So, you're right, big dog.
Almost died. There was lingering effects. There was a bone in it. Whatever else you want to hear, but I almost died.
Hey, the assassins have failed yet again.
Still here,
bitch. Still here. You're still here, bro.
Other than that, I think we kind of covered everything. Cody Garbrandt, like I said, Davison Figueiredo. I think before I jump off, because this always happens. This happened 2 or 3 times to us. We went to go kind of wrap everything up, and some shit dropped. And literally like 10 minutes before we got off the show, and I didn't see it until we got off. Let me see here. What's on the old Twitter? Other than Cowboy Cerrone riding Dana White's bull, that popped this week too. That's not really fight related. We like to give shout out to Cowboy. Still doing crazy. There was a time where Dana White forbid him from doing all that crazy shit. He couldn't go ride a bull. Dana White specifically told him, "You can't go ride a bull. You can't do any bull riding." And now he's retired and he's not a commodity anymore. So Dana's like, "If you come ride my bull, I'll pay you $100,000." So that'll be March. Dana White's looking for a fight's coming back, so I'm excited about that. So you are by default getting more content. I think you need to rehash that Fight Pass subscription.
No, I have one. It comes out of my account every month. I don't know which one of my kids. They bought it when I used to be refereeing on CFFC on UFC Fight Pass. My kids paid for a subscription so that they could watch me. And I noticed the other month a subscription is still coming out for $10.95 a month, and I have to find out which one it is or what the password is. I've been paying for this shit for like 3 years now, and I haven't watched a single event. So,
these damn kids.
yeah, for sure. Cost me money forever. I love them to death, though.
Yeah, so nothing new right now. I don't see anything new or breaking or anything that warrants no injuries, no nothing. Like I said, the last 2 weeks that's happened to us. We've gotten off, and then 15 minutes or something after we've gotten off, either something dropped right before or right after. No, other than that, I think this week. Well, before we get to anything else, I guess we'll circle back to this week's flavor of the week from CannaDips, which is going to be the Go Fuel with Mocha. And I'll probably butcher it again, so we'll just read it right off the can. 150 milligrams of CBG, which is another cannabinoid from the hemp plant, and 375 milligrams of caffeine per can. Whatever that translates to is 15 pouches in the can. But these things are awesome. Like I said, I haven't found a flavor yet I really don't like. You can head on over to CannaDips.com for 20% off your order with the code FightShow. And we are always proud to partner with them. Pulling Punches Apparel. Shout out to the Mark Pulling Punches Apparel. Proud to partner with them. PullingPunchesApparel.com. And 717 Surplus. You can check them out on Facebook. Or go search them. They have an eBay store as well. 717 Surplus. And like I alluded to earlier, we got merch coming. It is in the works. Half the profits at least will be going back to helping fighters and possibly a great foundation that I'm familiar with called Geese for GIs, which donate geese, and you can donate money, and they provide geese to service members around the world, stationed around the world, who train jiu-jitsu to help them have easier access to training. And with that being said, we're going to bring to stage this, and we'll throw this up here, and I guess I can't do both, so we'll just go ahead and do this. Ref Rant this week, I'm going to kind of steal Bill's spotlight. Maybe not steal a spotlight, but have more of an open kind of discussion about it. So I heard some stuff this week, and I just again, this is that stuff that you pay attention to if you actually give a fuck, and not if you're just like, oh, it's the UFC, I don't care. But the business side of shit fascinates me. But so people talk about fighter pay and all this, and I just want to kind of bring you in on this and get your opinion. If you were an active fighter in the UFC, what would a nutritionist and your supplements together monthly cost you if you're going to do it the right way?
Oh, $400 to $500 a month. But we're talking multivitamins, fish oil, glucosamine and chondroitin, meal replacement supplement, creatine. Yeah, $400 to $500, give or take. I wouldn't go crazy. Now wait. My legal supplementation routine, or what I had to do to compete in the UFC type of.
No, they get tested, Bill. Nobody in the UFC does steroids. Your legal supplements that you would take to provide optimal recovery and competition.
The supplements are $500. The nutrition and the right stuff to eat is $1,200 a month.
So you're talking $1,700 a month. We'll just shits and giggles it. We'll say $1,500 a month.
Yeah. No, that's pretty accurate.
So you're talking $18,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you are under contract with the UFC and you're a UFC athlete, you can choose to put an order in every month with an app on your phone and receive all your supplements that you want ordered monthly. The UFC gives the fighters access to a nutritionist, the UFC gives the fighters access to a sports psychologist, which more and more people are taking advantage of. It's helping them get the shit straightened out. And as we always champion and pioneer the message of, like, sometimes you got to talk to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like us as men even. So all this stuff is provided by the UFC. Yeah, there's holes in there's gaps, and some guys should probably be making some more money here and more money there. And at the end of the day, they're fight promoters. Their job is to promote fights. They now answer to other people. It's not just Dana and Lorenzo and Dana and the Fertitta brothers. It's not. There's more in place. There's shareholders now. So while going public was a good thing for the business and the sport, I think the revenue sharing could be more. There's caveat points to all of it, but at the end of the day, these guys have been doing it for 30 years. Build it to what they've built it up to. Endeavor, who took them over, has been doing what they do and making a lot of people a lot of money for years. So the business side of things is always hinky, and a lot of people don't understand it. But they provide this. Sean Brady was just, again, Joe Rogan podcast. Like, I learned this stuff because I consume content. Sean was just talking about today, Thorne supplements. He was talking about the USADA deal. It was a really great conversation, and just like Pat was able to give us some insight on PFL stuff and stuff that's going on and behind the curtain a little bit. Like, these are the conversations I like to hear.
They are Endeavor is trying to recoup $4.3 billion. Maybe they're probably still not in the green yet, and they're probably not going to be for a couple of years. There's probably a plan. So when you're talking about like fighter pay and all that fun stuff, they're still trying. They're not in the business of giving money away right now.
No. Now, has excuse me, has things improved? Yeah, fighter pay's improved. I mean, scalable to the money they're making, probably not. But they're in the business.
Hold on. I'll tell you this: the new guys on the roster are making more money off the UFC than the UFC is making off them.
Yeah,
it's
an investment. It's an investment.
Yeah. If Dana White pays them $15,000 a fight and $15,000 a show, $15,000 a win. Say your first fight is $24,000 or $30,000 plus all the perks. Say you cost the UFC $40,000. They didn't make $40,000 off you. Not your first fight. The UFC has made more multimillionaires and more millionaires out of guys that would have struggled everywhere else in life. Like, I don't even know how the fuck they would have made it. And here they are. Like, listen, I like Mike Perry. Mike Perry's one of my favorite fighters of all time. What a good personality. What a good guy for bare knuckle. If it were not for combat sports, you think Mike Perry is going to like work a register at Walmart? Do you think he's going to change tires at like, Firestone? Like, he's a multi-millionaire. He gets to do whatever he wants, raise his kids with, like, all because of combat sports. Now, and the UFC is part of what made Mike Perry. So when we're talking about fighter pay and we're getting into that, listen, every business, the higher ups make the winner's share, and then the rest trickles down. Combat sports and the UFC and fighter pay and all that shit, they've made more multimillionaires out of guys, like I said, who would have struggled anywhere else in life. And I know people like to rip Dana White up for that. They've been around for 30 fucking years. They sold the shit for 4.7. I think it's probably worth 6 or 8 billion now.
Yeah.
Guy knows.
We got the Saudi investment. We covered it. I got it on there's just the amount of hundreds of millions that were injected last year.
Yeah. The guys, they know what they're doing. Dana White and his friends, they know what they're doing with this company.
So. I'm not a fighter pay arguer. Like, I'm not, at the end of the day, you hear X amount, like, I don't watch football. Okay. I don't follow football anymore. I know the sport. I played the sport for a couple years. I was a big fan, growing up before I got into MMA. Like, I literally only watch combat sports. I give 0 fucks if the Philadelphia Eagles beat whoever. And just to make matters worse, if anybody's going to get pissed off, if I was to root for a fucking team, it would be the Dallas Cowboys. So everybody can fuck off. All right. At the end of the day, I know that Patrick Mahomes signed an XXX $1 million deal with X amount guaranteed. So if he catastrophically blows his knee out tomorrow, he's still guaranteed X amount of $100 million. But I don't know what the punter on the Kansas City Chiefs makes.
Yeah.
Because nobody gives a fuck between the pay gap of Patrick Mahomes and the pay gap of the fucking punter on the Kansas City Chiefs. Replicate that through the whole NFL. There's a gap. There's not a gap like the PFL. The PFL, people talk about PFL and fighter pay, and they're paying them what they deserve because IMPA won $1 million or OAM won $1 million back-to-back 2 years in a row. But they fail to mention when they were in this argument in these fucking groups that Kayla Harrison got paid 6 figures to fight some girl that would have made more at the top end of the UFC Venom bonus scale for participation in media and such. And that's another thing, like, nobody mentions that. Nobody mentions the fact that guys like on the later end of their career are making 36,000 or whatever I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's a decent amount for 21,000, something like that. It's a decent amount for fight week activities to go do all the media and the poster signings you see them doing. And they give them this, and now they give them roughly $18,000 in supplements and nutrition help a year. Plus they have access to the PI whenever they want to. Plus, like, there's caveats. We've talked about it. We've witnessed it. You've heard about it. You know people that have gotten them. Like, there's people that have gotten these checks weeks after an event that nobody knows about. And then at the end of the day, Francis leaves. X amount of how many fighters' contracts ended between the time Francis Ngannou left and today? 15, 20 at the least. Like, are they leaving? Derek Brunson and Francis left. A few other people trickle out here and there, but when you have 700 and something people on the roster, you're going to lose a couple here and there. You're going to have you can't please everybody.
And it's just to make way for the new ones. You know, if they cut one guy, they're signing 3 other new ones, you know? So it's like, but all right. Was that a ref rant for this week?
It's our ref rant for this week, brought to you by Pool No Punches Apparel. You can go visit them at poolnopunchesapparel.com. We're
an hour and a half in, man. Overtime this week.
Yeah, man. I think we're good. We just have fun. It don't seem like we're here for an hour and a half. I mean, Pat Brady came in late and was still with us for 30 minutes. So
that guy's fun. I like that guy.
Yeah, we didn't even touch base on everything we wanted to touch base on, but that's all right because he's got some news coming up that hopefully. This is now like probably 4 weeks in a row we've heard mutterings of Philadelphia and BKFC and.
Dude, I'm pumped. I'm going to be there for sure. Like, I don't care what it takes. I'll be there.
Yeah. So other than that, I think that's probably going to do it for us. I know you had wanted to run something by me quick right before we went live. Hold on. We got a comment. If you're in the show and dropping a comment, we could throw you up. Brent, most of it was a coughing. Thanks. Thanks, Brent. Appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for sticking around till the end. And making
you honestly think I can remember some shit that I started talking to you about like 2 hours ago? I don't fucking remember what that was.
I don't know either.
I'm sure I was talking to you about some shit before the show, but that was like 2 hours ago, man. That's like.
Well, we're getting ready. There's a little countdown timer up top here, and Bill's like asking me like in-depth questions that we're going to go live in 47 seconds.
That was like 2 hours ago. That's like
you had me so fucked up. We did the intro twice. It's only supposed to be 10 seconds. That shit was 20 seconds. So, but anyways, guys, we appreciate you stopping in. Brent, Christy, Michelle, Pat, everybody that commented. Thanks, Pat Brady, for stopping by. The Brick. If you don't know, again, who he was before tonight, I suggest you go look him up. I'm sure there's some footage there of the Art of War.
And I'll tell you what, when the time is right, I'm doing my 5 minutes with Pat Brady. The last 60 seconds will be fun. I want that. 5 minutes, not 5 rounds. Come on, let's not get crazy.
No, I mean, I'm just. I think we figure out a charity. I think we do that. I think there's possibilities for this, Bill. We're all about content, you know that.
Dude, what do you think about a new segment? 5 minutes with whatever fighter, and I go to their gym. I spar him for 5 minutes. We interview him for 5 minutes, then we get the fuck out of there. 5 minutes with Pat Brady.
I think it's even better. You know how like they do like the celebrities read mean tweets? I think we find out all the horrible shit that people say to Pat, and you kind of like memorize them as lines, and that's the stuff you have to say to him while you're sparring with Pat. I think it was just funner.
Oh, dude, that's brutal. A guy with an open license to hit me, and I'm sitting there saying mean shit that other people have said about him on the internet. I'm definitely gonna get my ass kicked for that one, but I'll be honest, people would watch that shit. Like, here, check this former ref get the shit kicked out of him. We'll
You took that
talk off
fucking
air.
point.
We'll talk
You
off
took
air.
that point. Yeah, no worries. No, like I said, just to circle back, CannaDips.com, FightShow 20% off. Pool No Punches Apparel, presented by all these guys. We wouldn't be here without them. 717 Surplus. You can hit them up on Facebook. Search them on eBay. Next Saturday, 7 p.m., Primo Bellarosa. Kind of like a staple in the Muay Thai world. We don't get a lot. I'm excited. Good dude. He's got a couple fighters for him. Had a couple of his fighters fight for me when I promoted, so excited to talk to him. It's been a few years since I talked to Primo. Other than that, we appreciate everybody that stopped in and commented. We thank Pat the Brick Brady, CannaDips, Pool No Punches Apparel 717. So I think we got everything, man. We're good. But that was it. Thanks for sticking around, watching me ramble, almost die. Bill sing. It's a fucking variety show here at Fight Show, guys. We appreciate you, and we will see you next Saturday at 7 p.m. Fight Show episode 17. We are